Okay. Someone wants to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Chapter 11, text 7. Ihaikastam jagat krishnam pasyadya sa characharam mama dehe gudakesa yachanyad-drastum ichchasi. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place.
Okay. So in this universal form, this is in Prabhupada says in the purport, no one can see the entire universe while sitting in one place. Even the most advanced scientist cannot see what is going on in other parts of the universe. But a devotee like Arjun can see everything that exists in any part of the universe. Krishna gives him the power to see anything he wants to see, past, present, future. Thus, by the mercy of Krishna, Arjun is able to see everything. So as the Lord is revealing his universal form in chapter 11, it's not fathomable with our normal eyes, but Krishna says that in the next verse. Ragini Mataji, go ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 8. Natu mam sakyase drastum anenaiva svachaksusa divyam dadhami te chaksuh pasyame yogam aishwaram. But you cannot see me with your present eyes, therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
do you want me to read text 9 also,
No.
Prabhuji?
This is very important part. So I'm going to expand on this and then go to the next verse.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right. So the universal form is not just a 3D form, right? So it's a multi-dimensional form. So it's not just easy to fathom with these normal eyes. Just like if one wants to see the entire universe, or what to speak of entire universe, even if one wants to see something from all dimensions, we can't. When I'm looking here, I have 120-degree vision, right, that I can see. And that's about it. I can't see what is behind me. So in Arjuna's case, he's seeing this universal form, which is, not three-dimensional. So in that case, he is being gifted with a unique vision through which he can see. So those who are present in the battle of Kurukshetra, they are not able to see. Other folks who are on the other side or this side, nobody's able to see this, unless it's Arjuna and another person is watching this. Anybody knows who? Who else is also able to witness this? Sanjay, correct. So he has been also given divine vision by Vyasadeva. And Sanjay is also able to see what Krishna is saying, and he is also able to narrate it to Dhritarashtra. Now the purport says a pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with the two hands. A devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind, but with the spiritual eyes. To see the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna is told not to change his mind, but his vision, right? The universal form of Krishna is not very important. That will be clear in subsequent verses. Yet, because Arjuna wanted to see, the Lord gives him the particular vision required to see the universal form. So we are quite happy to see Krishna in his original form. So it's not important for us to see him in this massive, universe. Just like if your wife or husband is a big CEO, it's not important for us to see them in that CEO capacity. We prefer to see them as a wife or husband, as a child, as a parent, or whatever else, right? In our intimate relationships. As a devotee of Krishna, we don't need to see Krishna in his universal form. We love him for his intimate relationship, where we can see him like he's like us, or we are like him, right? But because Arjuna wanted to see it, Krishna obliged, and Krishna is telling him not to change, don't change the mind, just get the eyes to see this form. Devotees who are correctly situated in transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by his loving features, not by godless display of opulence, right? in a loving relationship, one doesn't go for one's money and opulence and all of that. One is attracted to the person, the qualities, the things that make that person personable, likable. So in this case, our attraction is not to Krishna's opulence or how strong he is. In fact, those things for a pure devotee, those are things that are like, I'm not so sure. Like Radharani once came actually to see Krishna in Kurukshetra from Vrindavan. She came in and she saw Krishna in this form wearing a golden helmet, amulets and all these shields of a Kshatriya because he's in the war. And Radharani is like, where is my Govinda? The one who wears Vanamala and simple dress and simple things. I miss that person. You're here in king's opulence. I'm not used to seeing you like this. So she doesn't like Krishna in this form. So like that, a pure devotee who's in the Krishna prema doesn't like to see Krishna's opulence. They like to see Krishna in his original form and love him as who he is, right? So, but in today's world, what do we see? The attraction comes from how much you can show off. One of my mentees, just before his marriage, he decided to buy a very fancy car. And he took a picture of that fancy car, put it on shadi.com and other such marriage websites, and he was flooded with proposals. He thinks he's not a very good looking person, so he needed to show that fancy car to get all the attention from the girls, and he did. And then he got somebody that he got engaged to, and within I think a week she left him, and then he found somebody who didn't come for the expensive car, but actually came for his qualities, and they are married and they're happily married for a long time. And both are actually now practicing devotees. The point is, this show-off business that we think will attract people towards us, will attract gold diggers. Yeah, no doubt. I personally have that great fortune of attracting people who, come for the XYZ factor. So it's one who's intelligent knows how to distinguish that. There was a little funny back and forth between a beauty pageant and a billionaire. And I think this was happening on Quora or some platform like that, where she was saying, I'm looking to marry the richest person who comments on my post. And a billionaire responded, I think it was, I shouldn't put out any names. Anyway. So this guy said, hey, you know what? I am a billionaire. I am the kind of person you're looking for. But guess what? If you understand economics, my wealth is bound to grow, is appreciating over time. But your wealth is your beauty, and that is going to depreciate over time. So even though you want to marry a billionaire, why would a billionaire who has intelligence want to marry you? Because you have depreciating wealth, whereas I have appreciating wealth. Right? So my wealth is growing and your beauty is going to decline as time goes by. And of course, it was a learning thing for her to understand that, what you're focusing on the superficial aspects of things. Superficial aspect of things, they don't last. And what lasts is qualities and the structure of the being that we are. And that's what nourishes our relationships, right? So in this case, although Arjun wants to see that opulent form of Krishna, later on we will see, as Srila Prabhupada states in the purport, that Arjun tells Krishna, please Krishna, come back to your normal form. I don't want to see you like this. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the boys who play with Krishna are highly pious souls, and many, many births they are able to play with Krishna. Such boys do not know Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. They take him as a personal friend. So in the spiritual world, actually, Krishna, just like we are in Maya, right? So this is the kind of Maya where we forget Krishna. In the spiritual world, there is also another kind of Maya called Yoga Maya, where people don't know Krishna as God. And Krishna purposely keeps them in illusion, so they don't recognize he's God, so they can be intimate with him. Because these boys who play with Krishna, tug of war and jumping on him and fighting with him, and they have no idea this is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they can be whatever, they can put their feet on his body and they don't mind, because this is their friend. And Krishna likes it that way. He doesn't like to be in that God position. He likes them to feel intimate. So he has specifically created Yogamaya so that they all consider him one of their own, right? And with the gopis also, when there was Rasalila happening, and the gopis were looking for, suddenly Krishna vanished because Radharani got a little proud that, oh, I'm the most fortunate gopi in this entire universe. And Krishna just vanished like that. He likes to intensify their longing for him. Then what happened? They were looking for Krishna everywhere. All the gopis, Radharani, everybody's looking for Krishna everywhere. And then finally, Krishna, comes in the form of Lord Narayan, four-armed form, holding Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. And all the gopis are paying obeisances like, oh, this is the Supreme Lord. Lord Narayan has come. My Lord, please help us find Krishna. Please help us find. And they were sincerely praying to him. This is Krishna, but they don't recognize him as Krishna. They're seeing this is Lord Narayan and they're praying, we miss Krishna, please bring us Krishna. And Krishna couldn't be in Narayan form for too long. Seeing their deep prayers, he just melted. And it's like, oh God, here I am. So he became two-armed Govinda form, right, with the flute and everything. So that's Krishna's original form, is this Govinda form. And as official as Narayan, or as Mahavishnu, or whatever different expansions he has, those are not the forms that the devotees are attracted to. The devotees are attracted to this intimate form of Krishna, who is very affable, he's friendly, he is, like he's our homeboy, right? He belongs to us and we belong to him. And that's the nature of devotees. All right, moving on. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami says, here's the Supreme Person who is considered the impersonal Brahman by great sages, the personality of Godhead by devotees, and a product of material nature by ordinary men. Now, these boys who have performed many, many pious activities in their past lives are playing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you see Krishna as whoever you think you are. So the impersonalists, they see him as the Brahmajyoti. The devotees see him as Bhagavan, and those who are materialists see him as just another ordinary person. But regardless, Krishna is playing with his cowherd boys, and Shukadeva Goswami is reciting that, hey, they have no idea who they're playing with. They're such a great person, or the Supreme Person. The fact is that devotees are not concerned with seeing the Vishvarupa, the universal form. But Arjuna wanted to see it to substantiate Krishna's statements, so that in the future people could understand that Krishna not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as a supreme, but actually presented himself as such to Arjuna. So this 11th chapter is very important. So it's the shortest chapter in Bhagavad Gita, and it is very important because in this chapter, Krishna does something that no one else can do, right? Many people call themselves God. And not only in Kali Yuga, there have been many, many yugas, people have pretended to be God. All these pretentious people will never be able to show this massive universal form that Lord Krishna showed. And it is documented in the Bhagavad Gita. So when we're reading the Bhagavad Gita, it is not some Tom, Dick, and Harry talking. It is not just another person talking. It is a Supreme Personality of Godhead speaking. That's why Vyasadeva doesn't say Shri Krishna Uvacha. He says Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, right? That the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, is speaking. And the fact that he's representing his entire universal form, that is a testament to the fact that this book is special. It is spoken by God, first person singular. No other religion in this entire world, whether it's the Abrahamic faiths or any other faiths, where God is speaking personally. It is the angel or the messenger of God or a prophet. But in this case, Krishna or God is speaking. So Bhagavad Gita is very special because these are the words of God, or song of God. Bhagavad Gita. Gita means song, Bhagavad as in God. So God is speaking. And that's what makes it very, very special. And to make sure there are no doubts, Arjuna is asking Krishna to show this Virat form or Vishwarup form. Right. The Lord gave Arjuna the necessary power to see this universal form because he knew that Arjuna did not particularly want to see it, as it would be explained later on. Ragni Mataji, or anybody wants to read? Okay, I'll read. Sanjaya Vacha Evam Yuktva Tato Rajan Mahayogeshwaro Harihi Darshayam Asha Parthaya Paramam Rupam Aishwaram. Sanjay said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Da, 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 right? So, this is Sanjay speaking, and then he's going to narrate what he is seeing. This is very, very powerful. Ragni Mataji, are you there? It'll be a horrible disservice if I'm reading this. Aparna Mataji, go ahead. My Sanskrit is horrible.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is
11:10 to 11.
Okay. Aneka Vaktra Nayanam, Aneka Adbhuta Darshanam, Aneka Divya Bharanam, Divyanekya Dhyutadham. Should I read the purport as well?
Translation.
Translation, sorry. Arjuna saw in the universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant. Sorry, I don't see the screen.
Oh, oops, sorry. Where are we? Yep.
All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding.
All right.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, let's continue because it's going to be more and more descriptions.
Okay. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhave Yugapad Uttita Yadi Ba Sadsi Sasyad Bhasastasya Mahatmanaha. Translation: if hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So we'll go back. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, and I'm trying to pull out the universal form as depicted by our ISKCON painters of Krishna. I'm sure most of you have seen it, but still, it's not possible to depict it, to be honest. But whoever the painter is has tried, and where is it? So we see what is being described here, right? So this is a high resolution image, so it's going to take some time. While that's loading, let's just read up on it. So Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine appraised weapons. Right? So now let's compare this with this picture. Those who have the Bhagavad Gita can also see in your Bhagavad Gita. So unlimited mouths, right? So they're trying to showcase it. So it's not just ending with this, it goes in circles here. So infinitely, unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes. And in the next verse we heard, if there were lakhs of suns, that would be the effulgence of this aspect, this universal form. So this is really showing God in his full opulence. Right? So and it is described that he wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared all over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. So basically massive. And we heard hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at the once in the sky. Their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person. So we can hardly look at the sun. So what to speak of lakhs of sun rising at the same time. And that is the effulgence of this. So that's why Arjun was gifted with that special vision. So he could see it and relish this universal form. Go ahead, Mataji.
Sure. Tatraikastham jagatkritsnam pravibhaktam anekada apasya deva devasya sarire pandavastada. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands.
Next verse.
Tatha sa vismaya visto rishta roma dhananjaya pranamya sirasa devam kritanjalir abhasata. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord.
So that's the difference that happens, right? When you see this opulent form of the Supreme Lord, then it becomes like, whoa, I thought he was my friend, but he's apparently the Supreme Lord and he's in all his glories. And you can't do anything. You can't help but just bow down to such a glorious form and pray. That's what the natural self tells us, right? Srila Prabhupada. So I was talking to this devotee who used to be a stuntsman, a fighter basically in the movies in Hollywood. And he's like very big and tall and 7 feet tall and very big guy. And I asked him, how was your first meeting with Srila Prabhupada? He said, I thought Srila Prabhupada would be this big, tall personality, but he was your height, actually shorter than you. I'm a short guy, those of you who have not seen me. So he said he was shorter than you, but his stature was so massive that we all fell to the ground and no one told us how to pay Dandavat Pranam. We didn't know all that, back in the days, but we just fell on the ground and we had tears in our eyes. And we were just bowing down to this great person. By default, there was, this feeling of that, wow, somebody has come who represents God. So Srila Prabhupada had that kind of stature. Now imagine Krishna in his universal form, what that must be, that awe and reverence that comes, right? Like you see in the South Indian temples, Tirupati and Varadaraj Swami and Adi Keshava, this awe and reverence, like when I go to these temples, I kind of remind myself, Govinda, this is Krishna, this is the same person who's so loving and of course they're all loving. It's just like you're a little fearful of such massive deities with gold and diamonds and everything. Whereas in Vrindavan, Krishna is running around, herding cows and calves, and he's so accessible. So naturally, you can't be friends with such a person. Lord Narayan doesn't have equals or friends, right? He doesn't have mothers, running with a stick behind him, but Lord Krishna does. And that he enjoys that intimacy. He enjoys being close to his devotees, where he can feel that they can be close to him, right? So that's Krishna's nature. But when there's a universal form, guess what? Arjun, being a friend of Krishna, who's telling Krishna, take me here, take me there. In fact, just imagine this. When I heard this, my heart broke. the charioteer, right? The way when a fighter fights on the chariot, and the charioteer or the driver is sitting, how does the charioteer know which way to go, right or left? The archer or the person who's fighting actually with his feet tells the driver this way to go, that way to go. So Arjun was actually touching Krishna's body with his feet and telling him which way to go during the war. Imagine, this is God, but the friendship was so strong that Krishna took that position of being Arjuna's charioteer, being his driver, and menial, it's a Shudra job, right? And Arjun with his feet is telling Krishna which way to go, this way or that way. So that's the humility of Krishna. And that's the beauty of intimate friendship with Krishna, where Krishna doesn't mind somebody putting a foot on him. Like, I think Vrigu Muni kicked him in the chest and he said, oh, my chest is very hard. I hope it didn't hurt your feet. He genuinely meant it. And that's Krishna's nature. So we prefer Krishna to be in his intimate form, where he's accessible, right? So Arjuna now says, Mataji, go ahead. Let's hear what Arjuna has to say.
Arjuna uvacha pashyami devams tava devahe sarvams tatha bhuta visheshashangha brahmanam isam kamalasanastham rishim cha sarvan uragam sadivyam. I'm so sorry, I'm not that fluent. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents.
Okay. Next.
Aneka bahudara vaktra netram pasyami tvam sarvato nantarupam nantam namadhyam na punastavatim pasyami vishvara vishvarupa. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning.
Okay.
Kirtinam gadinam chakrinam cha tejorasim sarvato diptimantam pasyami tvam durnikrityam samantad diptanalkadyutim aprameyam. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence spreading in all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs.
Right. So that's what he's referring to. Very effulgent, yet with, he's everywhere. So all pervading aspect. So imagine this, just like when we do a PowerPoint presentation, it helps us visually see certain facts and figures. So this is kind of the visual representation of God, who's not really representable in one sense because the dimension is such. But then the all-pervading aspect is being represented. The infinite aspect is being represented. The creation aspect is being represented. The annihilation aspect is being represented, right? So, and if you see here, these kinds of faces, they are the annihilation part, the destruction happening here. There is the creation part, right? There are the demigods, as Krishna says in chapter 5, that Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, that I am the master of all the demigods, of all the lokas, of all the planets. I am the Lord. So here, the demigods, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, all these personalities are also represented in this universal form. So this is literally the dashboard of all aspects related to God. Go ahead, Aparna. And I just want to pause, sorry. I know there are many newcomers, and this might be a little esoteric for all of you. We're at 11th chapter. So if it doesn't make sense, don't mind it. Just hear it, and we'll get into logical things shortly. This might be a little beyond logic, and that's okay, but just stay with it. It's purifying nevertheless. Go ahead, Aparna. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. Tvam aksharam paramam vede tvam yam tvam asya vishvasya param nidhanam tvam avyaya sasvata dharma gopta sonatanas purusho mato me. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion.
So as Arjun beholds this intense vision, he is narrating all this for our benefit. For example, when somebody sees something, they document it in a diary, or they do a vlogging, they post on Instagram. So Arjun is narrating this because others are not able to see, but he is seeing it and he is documenting it so that others, we can benefit from his vision. Okay. Aparna, if you're tired, you can let me know.
No, I'm not tired. It's
Okay,
early morning here. I cannot be
perfect.
tired. I need to work. Okay. So, Anadi Madhyantam Ananta Viryam Ananta Bahum Sasishu Surya Netram Pashyami Tvam Dipta Hutasa Vaktram Swatejasa Vishwam Idam Tapantam. You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and the moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance.
There is no limit to the extent of the six opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anybody remembers what are the six opulences? You can say one.
Strength.
Yes.
Beauty.
Yes.
Renunciation.
Yes. Yes.
Wealth.
Yes. Awesome. So he's the strongest. He's the most beautiful. He's the most wealthy. He's the most knowledgeable. And he's the most renounced. And there's a sixth one. He's the most. What did I miss? Anyway, six opulences.
Famous.
Famous. He's the most famous. So there is no limit to the extent of his sex opulences. Here, and in many other places, there is repetition. But according to the scriptures, repetition of the glories of Krishna is not a literary weakness. It is said that at a time of bewilderment or wonder or of great ecstasy, statements are repeated over and over again. That is not a flaw. So you see that, the blazing fire, the effulgence of the Lord is being repeatedly mentioned. So sometimes in grammar, that can be considered like, that's a mistake. Redundancy is a mistake. But in this case, it's not, because it is so mind-bogglingly beautiful and wonderful that repetition is normal in this case. Like sometimes you see the sunrise and you say, my God, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You repeat it because there is that sense of like, wow, what did I just see? This is incredible, right? So when you're in awe, you do repeat the glory of it a few times. So that's what's happening here. Okay. Go ahead, Aparna.
Dvaya prithvyor idam antaram hi vyaktam tvaya kena disascha sarva drishtavad bhutam rupam ugram tavidam lokatrayam pravyaktitam mahatman. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed.
So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says it that in all parts of his creation, he's there because he is smaller than the smallest and larger than the largest. He's in every atom of his creation. So God is present everywhere, but we are not able to appreciate it or perceive it. But in this case, Arjun is able to appreciate and perceive that universal presence of God in all planetary systems and the spaces between it, right? So that's what he is narrating here. So again, for those who are newcomers, and if you feel a little lost, it's okay to ask questions. And if you're not understanding, it's okay to not understand. Eventually, it'll all make sense. 11th chapter is supposed to be a little esoteric, so just bear with me. Yes.
Amihi tvam sura sangha vishanti kechit bhita pranjalayo grananti swastiti uktva maharshi siddha sangaha stuvanti tvam stutibihi pushkalabhihi. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings, crying, all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns.
The demigods in the planetary systems fear the terrific manifestation of the universal form and its glaring effulgence, and so prayed for protection. So demigods are seeing this also because they have that kind of vision. They can see multidimensional forms. And by seeing this, it's terrifying. For a devotee, it's not terrifying because Krishna is our friend. But for those who are non-devotees, those who don't have that intimate relationship with Krishna, for them, like, whoa. So they're offering great prayers to the personality of Godhead. Like when Darshikadev killed Hiranyakashipu, at that time, all the demigods came led by Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, so they were all singing the Purusha Shukta prayers, which is supposed to be some beautiful, beautiful prayers of the Supreme Lord. And the Narsingadev was not pleased by it. So Lord Brahma said, my dear Prahlad, he came just for you. So you go, you offer your prayers to the Lord, only then he'll be happy, right? So Prahlad Maharaj then prayed to the Narsingadev very, very beautifully, and then Narsingadev was somehow he was calm. So like that, the demigods, they're not devotees, they are great personalities. So devatas, they're great personalities who have great positions and very, very powerful beings, but they're not necessarily devotees. That means they don't have love for God the same way that devotees do. So for them, he's somebody who they're fearful of. For devotees, we are not fearful of God, we love God. So a lot of times in many religious backgrounds, they say, fear God, right? Or there is a newspaper in Bengal that says, we don't fear anyone but God. So, but the bhakti concept, in bhakti, there is no fear of God. There is only love for God, right? So when there is love, there is no fear. So for example, one might be very scared of a big, muscular Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of a guy, but his own son or daughter won't be scared of him because, hey, it's daddy. So for us, Krishna is like that. We are not scared of God. We love God. So for us, even when God comes as death, we are not fearful, right? When God comes as destruction, we are not fearful because we see that loving hand is always there. Like I gave the example, the tiger. The teeth of the tiger is terrifying for the deer because it's going to rip apart the deer. But the same teeth of the tiger is used to carry the tiger's cubs from one place to another. And the tiger cubs, that teeth is mother's love. So for us, that's what Krishna is. So we are not fearful of Krishna. We love God. At least that's what bhakti, in the process of bhakti, that's what comes to us. But for demigods, they're crying, all peace, Om Shanti, right? 11:22.
Rudraditya vasovo ye cha sadhya vishvesmivau marutas kosmapascha gandharva yakshas ashus. I'm so sorry. Can I just read it once again?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Don't be.
Rudraditya vasavo ye cha sadhyam vishvesmin now marutas kosmopascha gandharva yaksha shura siddha sangha vikshante tvam vishmitas sarve. Translation: all the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus and Sadhyas, the Vishvedevas, the two Ashvis, the Maruts, the four fathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder.
Everybody is like watching this scene with awe and reverence, like, wow, what is this, right? So Lord Shiva, the Adityas are different expansions of the sun god, the Vasus. So remember, we have 400,000 species of human beings. So these are some of those, right? So the Sadhyas, they are in a higher planetary system, higher than the Swargaloka. So there is Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka. So Tapaloka are where I understand the Sadhyas are. They're doing tapasya. So they've come from there, right? The Vishvavedas. So these are various species who are in various upper planetary systems. So Maruts are from them comes the Maruti. So like that, the forefathers, forefathers are who? Like Kashyap Muni, Shandilya Muni. When mostly Hindus, we have that. When we are asked, what's your Gotra? We say we come from such and such Gotra, right? So that's the forefathers. So they are the original sons of Lord Brahma who progenited the universe. So these are called the forefathers. The Gandharvas are extremely beautiful looking men. It's kind of like, think about them as the celebrities, right? They're good looking, they're very good in singing and dancing, and they're, exceptional in entertainment, right? So they're the entertainers of the upper planetary system. So they're supposed to be, you know, when in ISKCON or in devotee, somebody looking good, we say, oh, you look like a Gandharva, wow. So that's what it means, because they're supposed to be very, very beautiful. And the yakshas, they're coming from the lower planetary systems, the yakshas and the asuras. In Bengali, we say jokko, right? So they're also there. So all these different species of beings are watching in wonder. Wow, behold this universal form of Krishna. Okay, go ahead. Aparna, you there? Okay. Rupam mahatte bahu vaktra netram mahabaho bahurupadam bahudaram bahudamstra karalam dritsva loka pravetis tatham. See, when I read it's so horrible. Sorry. Translation. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form. With its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. So now finally Arjun is like, hey, I don't want to see this anymore. This is a little disturbing. This is too scary. You know, so you see all these terrible teeth, you know, there's fire, there's effulgence, there is all this power. It's too much. It's overwhelming. So Arjun now finally is saying, just like they're disturbed, so am I. Are we back with Aparna? Yeah, Aparna, you want to read this?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. There, there's some connection problems. Sorry, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
go ahead.
no, Mataji, please read,
Okay. Nabah sprisham diptamanekavarnam Vyatanam dipta vishala netram Drishtavahi tvam Pravyati tantara atma Dhritim na vidami samam cha Vishnu. Translation. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind.
So initially there is the wow, and then it comes to like, whoa, this is too much. It's overwhelming. You know what? I don't want to see you like this. So Arjun is going through that. So initially he wanted to see it for us, but then he's like, this is too much. This is overwhelming to my senses. Yeah. Ragni Mataji, go ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 25. Damstra karalani cha te mukhani drastvaiva kalanala sannibhani diso na janena labhe cha sharma prasida devesa jagannivasa. O Lords of Lord, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions, I am bewildered.
Next. Go ahead, Ragni Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 26 to 27. Ami cha tvam धृताराष्ट्रस्य पुत्रः सर्वे सहैवावानि पालसङ्गैः भीष्मो द्रोणः सुतापुत्रस्तथासौ सहस्माधिर् योधा मुख्यैः वक्रतानि ते त्वरामान विसन्ति Damstra karalani bahayanaki Kechid vilagna dasanantaresu sandrasyante churunitair uttamaganahai. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also are rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth.
So the war has not started yet. And Krishna is showcasing already that the war is over, that they have been defeated, right? So this is very important to understand for Arjuna's confidence. This is very, very good because he is now seeing. So sometimes we go through difficulties and we wonder, will Krishna side with me or will this, other side win? So this is, we remember these kinds of instances, and that helps us understand, what Krishna's nature is always with his devotee. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, in a previous verse, the Lord promised to show Arjuna things he would be very interested in seeing, right? Now Arjuna sees that the leaders of the opposite party and their soldiers and Arjuna's own soldiers are all being annihilated. This is an indication that after the death of nearly all the persons assembled in Kurukshetra, Arjuna will emerge victorious. So Krishna is already giving a preview. Just fight this war. I've already killed them. You take the glory and be glorious, right? You take the credit. It is also mentioned here that Bhishma, who's supposed to be unconquerable, will also be smashed. So also Karna. Not only will the great warriors of other parties like Bhishma be smashed, but some of the great warriors of Arjuna's side also, right? So it's like a premonition. Krishna is giving a preview. So Arjuna's like, I don't want to fight this war. Oh God, I don't want to, kill them. I don't want to be, what if? So what if I don't win? What if this? What if that? So it's like clarity. He gets the vision. You know what? They're all going to die, and even people on your side will die. But the Pandavas will still be victorious because all the heads of the Kauravas will be gone, right? The chief warriors of the Kauravas will be killed. So he's seeing that. So that is Krishna's encouragement to Arjuna again. Like Srila Prabhupada, when he was hesitating to come to America to spread Krishna consciousness, in his dream, his guru came, right, and said, you should go. Everything is prepared. It's all ready. People have taken birth who are great personalities, and they will join your movement and they will help you grow. Just go to the West and start. And Prabhupada, that was his inspiration. And his Guru Maharaj came in his dream and he was ready to go. Then finally, when he was on the Jaladuta, on the ship to America, he had 2 heart attacks. And Prabhupada thought he was going to die because he was seasick and he was having all these heart attacks and he didn't think that he could continue. So Krishna personally came in his dream and he was massaging his chest and saying, don't worry, you will survive. And all you got to do is follow your guru's instruction and just be there. People are waiting, eager to listen to you. It's all set. Just write these books and preach this Krishna consciousness and everything is in place. So again, that was a premonition that he was going to be successful. So Krishna gave him a preview that, you know what? It's already set. I've taken care of everything. You go ahead, get the credit. So with Arjuna also, he's doing that. He's showcasing, look, it's all set. They're going to die. You're going to win. Just take the credit. So many a times in our lives, we see that, we are not supposed to win, or we are not supposed to, given our gifts or skills, we're not supposed to be that glorious, but somehow Krishna makes us glorious and he gives us the credit. And as devotees, we offer that glory to Krishna. My dear Krishna, it's yours. You are the one who empowered me, so it's all yours, right? So a lot of times when people appreciate you for who you are, what you've done, in your mind, you can always say, my dear Krishna, whatever appreciation is coming, I'm passing it on to you because it belongs to you. You empowered me and you're giving me the credit, but it's you. So that keeps us humble, right? That doesn't let us become proud because we know where it's coming from. Being humble means being honest. We know where it's coming from and we don't get artificially puffed up. I am somebody, I am so-and-so, and I have such skills and great qualities and whatnot. No, and we stay grounded and we are accessible and we do what we do without puffing up. Because what happens when we puff up, then we don't perform as well, right? Overconfidence and all the arrogance comes in. We stop learning, we stop growing. That's what pride does to us. It's toxic. It stops us from growing in life. When you're humble, you're hungry. When you're hungry, you want to grow. You want to, learn more. You want to expand. So that's very, very important that we keep, like Steve Jobs said, stay hungry, stay foolish, because only when you're hungry and foolish, you can learn and you can grow. When you're fully, puffed up, then you just think, I'm the best and there's no more to grow. I have conquered it all. And no matter how big you are, that should never be the mindset, because that's when you stop growing. Anyway, I will pause here, and I'm sorry for those of you who might be thinking, wow, this is like such science fiction, right? But hey, this chapter is actually not principles much. It is more about detailing the universal form, because it plays a very specific role here. As we learned, Bhagavad Gita has 5 aspects, right? Us, living entities, God aspect, karma, time, and material nature. So this particular chapter and the chapter before, chapter 10, was also about God. And this is also about establishing Krishna's God-like nature. We are seeing Krishna as a politician, Krishna as a personality and whatnot. But here the God-like aspect is being glorified, which is a very important part of Bhagavad Gita. So that's why these things that are for our three-dimensional perception, it's a little hard to fathom, right? But it is important, nevertheless, to understand it. All right. So any questions that you might have?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Yogesh Prabhu.
So I have one question. So let us say if, we, with Krishna's grace, we choose to be humble, right? Can constant humbleness lead to a low self-esteem? I don't know.
No, not at all. Because being humble, the understanding is I'm part and parcel of Krishna. And that's the highest self-esteem you can imagine. I'm part of God, I'm divine. Hey, it's not a prideful statement, it's a factual statement, it's humility, right? Krishna is infinite, I'm infinitesimally small. But small doesn't make me spineless. Small, I'm part of Krishna, and that's my self-esteem. So self-esteem and pride are 2 different things. Pride is illusion. Pride is fake. Pride is false. Self-esteem is real. So humility doesn't mean spineless. Humility means understanding for what I am and what I'm not. I'm not God, but I'm divine. I'm part of God.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
And for me, when I think very weak, that, oh God, what am I going to do? Like I've shared with many of you, many instances, I always think I am son of God. I'm Krishna's child. So by inheritance, I have access to the unlimited knowledge, the unlimited wealth, the unlimited abilities that Krishna has. So if he so desires, he can empower me with a fraction of his opulence, and I'll be good to go with whatever I need. My whatever worldly needs are, it's a fraction of Krishna's opulence. So that empowers me and makes me strong. Yes, Aparna.
Sorry, I have a last minute question. I'll make it very quick. So you mentioned that, when there is love, right, there is no fear. But it's also true that when we love, we have a sense of respect, right? So how do we distinguish whether that the source of respect is fear or is it love? Like how to distinguish that?
Sure. So very nice question. Ask me again.
Okay, so you said that when there is love, there is no fear.
The answer
right?
is right? So in love, there is no fear. Okay, maybe I'll edit it a little bit. There is fear of hurting the person. It's not the fear that person will hurt me. The fear is, oh my God, if I do this, that person might get hurt, right? So yeah, there is that kind of healthy fear, not an unhealthy fear where there's an abusive relationship. That, oh my God, if I don't do this, I will be shunned. Like the other religions that they talk about, God will put me in hell, eternal damnation, and things like that. That's not a part of our culture. Our culture is God will never harm us. But our fear is, my God, I hope I don't, be disrespectful to Krishna by my foolishness. That's the fear. So fear coming from respect is wonderful. I love my guru. I have tremendous fear. I can hear my heart beat when he's around me. But he's told me, please don't act like a VIP thing. I don't like to be treated like a VIP. I like to be treated like a common person. So although my heart is pounding, I'm smiling. And I'm not trying to be like, Guru Maharaj, right? Because he doesn't like that. Is that fear? Yes. But it's also tremendous love. So it's not the kind of love that, it's not the kind of fear that comes from abuse. It's the kind of fear that comes from loving a person or losing or hurting the person because of our own inabilities. Does it answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Yes, Shantanu, sorry, go ahead. Shantanu, you have to unmute yourself to ask the question.
I'm very sorry. Is it
Yeah.
okay now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to add that love can come out of respect also. If I consider respect is one part of appreciation, when we really appreciate something, don't we love the knowledge? Don't we love the beauty? Suppose we are listening to wonderful music. So we just think that how beautiful, or suppose if like you are explaining something very good. So then if I like the explanation of something, it's a learning, then it's appreciation, and then love comes out of that.
100%.
There's
In
no
fact, there can
fear
be no
because I
love
can ask
without
anything.
respect.
Yeah, because then I can ask them. If I am being fearful, then I can't clarify anything with you, because then I won't be able to ask you any question. And if I can't question, then I can't learn actually.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I think it's both sides of a coin, respect and love. It can go hand in hand.
It
That's
goes
my
hand in
point.
hand. In fact, it's like it's described, respect is a fabric of a loving relationship. What does fabric mean? String going this way, string going that way, string going this way, string going that way. That's how a fabric is made. So it's like those strings are the strings of respect, right?
So
Of a loving
wonderfully
relationship.
explained. Right.
Absolutely. Okay, so to be respectful of your time, I will end it here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a good night.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.